Empower People works for disadvantaged women who are victims or potential victims of violence, including domestic violence, honor crimes, killing and trafficking or other type of slavery, and provides them shelter, proper counseling, legal support and other help required. The community work involves creating awareness and conducting livelihood programs.
Well, we're live. A very good morning, afternoon, and evening to all those who have tuned in to this webinar from various parts of the world. The reason I say this is our panelists are actually from joining us from different parts of the world as we moderate from India. Welcome to yet another session of a dialogue on COVID-19 hosted by Empower People. The official world number for COVID positive cases as we speak right now has almost crossed 10 million, which means around 1 crore people all over the world have been hit with this virus. US being the highest at 25 lakh cases, India being not very far by 5 lakhs, and Spain with almost 3 lakh cases now, Canada with 1 lakh, whereas we have our panelists from Tanzania, where the country has been declared corona-free. These numbers are from the official website of worldmeters.info. We are all apprehensive when this is going to end, and we honestly don't know and we won't know, but there are ways of predicting it based on patterns collected from various resources by compiling and analyzing them. Let me introduce you to our panelists today. Joining us from Zanzibar, Tanzania is Sarfaraz Ahmad. He's a pharmacist. From San Francisco, California, Krupa Pratap Brahmkstri. She's a data scientist and a security analyst. From Vancouver, Canada, architect Amaya Roca, and Dr. Paula Rubio, who couldn't be with us on the webinar because of the time issue, but she's going to be connecting with us with a video, and she's from Barcelona in Spain. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us from all your different time zones and giving us this time and talking with us on this webinar that we have the experience of COVID all around the world. Now, the first question I would like to post to Sarfaraz is that how has the pandemic affected the country largely? Sarfaraz, you have to unmute your mic, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Can you please repeat your question once again?
Yeah, the question is, how did the pandemic affect the country, Tanzania, largely, and what were the steps taken by the government, and how was the journey for these 2 months from the beginning of the striking of the pandemic to now that you have declared it free of COVID?
Yeah, actually, when the pandemic came existence in Tanzania, most probably in the month of April, yeah, you can say in April. So all of a sudden, this is not something new for us, and everybody is in panic because no one is getting the exact thing what is actually COVID-19 is. We are all listening and following the WHO guidelines. As per the guidelines, we are also trying to treat the people, but there was a very panic situation in Tanzania because Tanzania is like you cannot say that we are having a very high quality of medical facilities here, but
Right.
still, I will say the government has supported a lot. Why I say like this, because when the pandemic hit Tanzania, the government, the president of Tanzania, John Magufuli, he did not panic the masses, the Tanzanian people. He came on the live and said, you did not need to worry at all. We are here to take care of you. So when a leader speak, it counts a lot.
True.
And he said, we will, and he assured the people, you do not need to worry. We'll take care of all the things. So, and also, he made certain rules and regulations for country, and he focused on physical distancing at the time of starting when the COVID hit Tanzania. He did not ever focus on social distancing. He said we have to maintain physical distancing with proper rules and regulation, and
Hmm.
also we have to take a proper sanitization,
Hmm.
and the people were following really, and as of there is no specific treatment for the disease caused by this COVID-19.
True.
However, many of the symptoms can be treated according to the treatment based and the patient illness, isn't it? So we were
True.
also in Tanzania, they were following the same treatments everywhere,
Hmm.
like they were giving azithromycin, and along with first of all, they never used chloroquine. There was a boom in the market that chloroquine is treating very well, but yeah, there are studies who says that hydroxychloroquine has been effective on the part of the outer cover of the COVID. As the
Hmm.
structure is very complicated, the COVID-19 structure is very complicated. So it is very difficult to treat,
Hmm.
and I would say it is very difficult also to come up with the vaccine because of this structure and its nature, because it's continuously changing its structure. Well,
Hmm.
apart from this, I would say what John McFoley has did, he never locked down total everything, nothing.
Hmm.
Everything is open and going properly, but
Hmm.
with certain rules and regulation.
Hmm.
And he did not even close the mosque, nor the temple, nor the churches.
Hmm.
Everything is open, and well, on the roads, you can say on the highways, in every 10 to 15 kilometers, there are certain what we say, the appointed people who are checking
Hmm.
the whole the vehicles who are crossing that path. They are
Hmm.
checking the thermal. They are taking the thermal temperature of the body. If any symptoms they are finding, they
Hmm.
are politely. Even when I was traveling, I will say once when I was traveling, they took my thermal temperature, and also what are the symptoms they asked me. And
Hmm.
aside, one guy was there, the temperature exceeds more than 100, like
True.
101 and 102. So they
Hmm.
did not panic them. They talked to him very in a polite nature. The sir, the temperature is a little bit more, you need not need to worry, you just have to come up with the doctors. If something is there, they will give you a treatment and you will be okay. So the main what I'm focusing here is the government and even the official governments did not panic anyone,
True.
because what I think a psychological factor is a lot, while treating a patient.
Hmm.
Nowadays, the what I say, the practice of medicines,
Hmm.
with time as we develop, there are better techniques for diagnosis, and there will come a lot of
Hmm.
techniques.
Hmm.
But the art of medicine remains still constant. What I say is over the millennia, because human nature is unchanging. The
Hmm.
treatment may change, but the human nature is unchanging. So patient brings, when a patient come to hospital, it brings a lot of fear, anxiety, and you can say self pity into the examination room. And it has always been the a doctor's what we say has a bedside manner that is human. A doctor should be a human and compassionate, and I will say empathetic and supportive.
True. Absolutely.
So yeah, and
Great.
the precautionary measures are nothing. As us, there is no such things come up with that we can give a medicine or some vaccines. So we follow the normal things. And I will say one
Hmm.
thing also. It's a God gift or whatever the God blessings that the pandemic has not went to a higher level. We
Hmm.
almost had only 500 cases and 21 deaths officially,
Hmm.
and right now we are COVID free. I think
Hmm.
on 8th June, President Makfuli has declared that we
Yes.
are COVID free.
True.
Yeah, and soon we are also going to open what we say this international flights. As I'm staying in Zanzibar, and it is a purely what we say
It's a
it's a tourist place. Okay,
tourist place.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tourist place. So the economy also depends on a tourist.
Hmm.
But while working in hospital, I also witness a lot of things here. There is I would say not a single patients are coming since from almost 20 days or one month, you can.
Wow.
We are getting
Wow.
patients. We are getting patient, but a very mild symptoms, like sometimes they have cough. But
Hmm.
a lot of people, they hear and gather a lot of information from different parts of the world. So the fear accumulates them, so they get fear
True.
when they
True.
come to the hospital. Whether I'm suffering from COVID or not, so nothing as deadly here. Nothing. We are really very free. I would like to share you one experience here.
Sure.
When in the month of May, yeah, not in the month of May exactly, in the month of May, yeah, May, in the amidst of the May, we got a patient from Germany,
Hmm.
a couple,
Hmm.
and they came here with their mild symptoms as usual.
Hmm.
So the doctor, examined them, and the doctors actually, by looking all the symptoms, they somehow came to know that he might be a suspective and positive case. So
Hmm.
we allotted them room. We allotted them, a two-room isolated room with all facilities, everything. But the patient refused. What they say? No, we want to stay together.
Hmm.
Like doctors were like hell explaining them. No, you can't stay together. Because the virus,
True.
it can attack you, and the result may be disastrous. It may lead to
True.
catastrophic situation for you. But they did not listen. They just refused. No, we want to stay together. Let it be COVID or anything. We will be together and we will fight. Okay, so we gave up one room. There also we gave two beds, allotted with two beds. They also did not use this. They were using the single bed only, and they
Hmm.
found pampering each other, carrying each
Hmm.
other,
Hmm.
talking, laughing, and we took the
True.
sample. After 3 days, the result came. They were positive. Still, they refused to scatter. They will stay together. They said. So, and after 12 consecutive days, we did three more tests and they were
Hmm.
negative. Alhamdulillah, they got fine. So,
Hmm.
what the doctors and everyone noticed that, psychological factor matters a lot. Even,
True.
I will say one
True.
thing, a psychological really factors matters a lot. If if you are in a tense situation and, when a patient comes to hospitals, he's already tense. You're keeping in an
Hmm.
isolating room,
Hmm.
no one goes inside, everyone is panicked, no one is going, and like
Hmm.
he's something, what we say, you're
Hmm.
scattered or something, that we are
True.
scared of them. No
Hmm.
one is going, even the
Hmm.
doctors are going with full proper PPE kit. He's also not properly talking. Even the nurse, they
Hmm.
go, just you dispense the medicine, come back.
True.
In a hospital, I would like to say, really, I will thank to my nurses. Definitely they did a commendable job in our
Wow.
hospital. Especially every half an hour, the nurses are going, they are talking to the patients with proper PPE kits and everything, and
Okay.
also they are, yeah, and even also the doctors are doing 2-3 rounds in a day, and we are
Wow.
providing the food and the whatever the nourishment, the treatment is as such, the azithromycin. Sometimes we give ceftriaxone IV because it may
True.
cause some organ infections.
Hmm.
Also, we are
True.
giving vitamin C along with some cough syrup and nothing
Hmm.
much. And just we are talking to the patient. Our nurses really played a commendable job. They always
Wow.
go within half an hour. They talk to the patient. They pamper. They try to cool them. Nothing to worry.
Hmm.
So everything went well. So like this only. Nothing else I
Great.
can say more.
Great.
But you may be knowing that the SARC is also hit. SARC. The
True.
symptoms were same as influenza. You know.
True.
So, but and I think that time, not more than 770 or 771 that's happened.
Hmm.
It hit, I think, in 2001 or 2003 maybe.
Hmm.
And in 2004, we could not able to find any vaccine, and it disappears. Right now.
True.
Do you know about SARC now? No, no one talk about the SARC.
No one is
So I
talking about
think
SARS now. Yeah.
no one is talking about SARC. So I think
Yeah.
maybe because in the case of COVID also, it's not a easy task. I will say it's not a easy. It's a piece of cake
Hmm.
to find vaccine because of the structure.
Hmm.
And the constantly changing the structure of COVID. You cannot
Hmm.
exactly fix the exact vaccine. What I mean to say.
Hmm. True. True.
So I think as the time goes, this COVID will also get automatically suppressed.
Okay. Okay. And let's hope that whatever you're saying right now is going to be true very soon.
Sure.
Actually, I would like to stress on the point of the fact that you use the word physical distancing instead of social distancing. And even here, we have been trying to do when we were in the lockdown, we were trying to do the physical distancing, talking about the word social distancing and how it was
Yeah.
being played by one another. Great. Krupa, I would like to ask you the next question. Now, we know and we are all watching about what is happening throughout the US currently with all the protests and the situation which it is right now. But is California as a state any different from that situation? Or how has the state responded to the entire pandemic?
Well, every state, depending on the population that they have and the medical facilities they have, and the kind of people, the restrictions that are there, like how many people are following social distancing, how many social contact per day is allowed, and I think the scenario is pretty much changing. At least 2 months back, when I was looking at the Worldometer's website, and there is this option for the projection, and it used to show that given the current scenario, everything would be okay by late August or September. But with the unfortunate scenario of the protests going on, and a little bit opening up of the malls, or some different places, it is showing around October. So the government is trying their best to help the people, and people are trying their best to follow, but the unfortunate things that come in and people do not follow, that
Hmm.
leads to the
True.
spread of the disease, right? I mean, like, being a data scientist, and when we talk about modeling, there are a lot of features that contribute to a data science model. I mean, it
Hmm.
depends on the number of people, the population of a place. It may be a
True.
district, it may
True.
be a state, or it may be a country as a whole. Are people following social distancing? Are they staying at
Hmm.
home? Because I think coronavirus or COVID-19, whatever you call it, people know
Hmm.
that if you stay at one place, you don't interact with people, and you're staying
True.
indoors, this will
Hmm.
go away. Like, even if we do not have a vaccination, which all of us are striving to work for.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of features, a lot of factors contribute to this, but it
True.
still will take its time to go away.
Hmm. Yes, I completely hear you about that. And how many other factors are helpful in keeping the virus safe with us as long as it is going to be staying. Amaya, I want to ask you the next question. So Amaya is actually living in Canada, but her family is in Spain. So when we put the two countries together beside each other, Canada is like ginormously humongous, and Spain has now crossed over like 300,000 mark, and Canada where is only 100,000. Can we talk a little bit about the difference between these two countries, and what are you seeing as what has been happening in the past 2 months?
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Well, as you mentioned, Spain is 20 times smaller than Canada. And the population of Spain is 47 million, whereas the population in Canada is 37 million. So Spain, in a way smaller country, has more population than Canada. So that's a big factor that took place in spreading the virus. And the pandemic hit first Spain, than Canada, and Canada, the approach was very effective. There was a plan put immediately from the government that helped a lot flattening the curve. Whereas in Spain, it happened very quickly, and the health system was collapsed, and there were many cases. So even though the measures were good, they were a bit late. So I think it's been very different. In Canada, within Canada, I'm in British Columbia. That's a province that's the size of Spain. And
Sure.
yeah, so the federal government put a lockdown and a plan emergency for the country, but each province had its own process of and rules of dealing with COVID.
Okay. Great. So I would like to actually. Dr. Paula hasn't been able to be on the webinar because time was not possible for her to match. But she has sent a video, and we'd asked the technical team to roll the video for us. And she said that she definitely wanted to talk about some few important things. So let's have the video.
Hi to everyone. First, just to apologize to be impossible to be online with you. but here's on Saturday, and my friend Amaya, that we are friends since we were like 15 years old in the high school, just tell me, and it was such impossible to be with you online. I hope you are enjoying and you learn and you think about all this crazy situation that we are living now. First of all, I would like to apologize for my English. It's not as good as I like, but I will try to explain my experience in the hospital. I'm a doctor since I finished graduation 10 years ago, and I work as a rheumatologist nowadays in small hospital. There is around 200,000 people. It's a small city close to Barcelona and in Spain. And usually we work in a kind of population. There is a lot of immigration people and medium and low class people. I usually work as a rheumatologist in the consultation from 8 to 2, and usually I'm not working in the with patients that are hospitalization. Usually, if there is any patient that some partner needs help, so I come up and that's it. But in March, everything changed. I remember one day that I went to the bar in the hospital, and I have a really good relation with my boss. Maybe because I'm a little bit aggressive sometimes, and so I'm always trying to improve the things, and sometimes the bosses are not happy with the situation. But I remember that I came to the bar and I saw him. He saw to me and he said, like, we understand each other only with our faces, and I ate with him that usually I'm not. And he said, Paula, I really need you. This is becoming crazy. And the next day was the last day that I was in the consultation. So I started working in the hospitalization with the COVID patients. We work in a hospital, just to be on mind that the kind of hospital that we have around 165 beds to be in the hospital, and during March and April we have around 300 people only with COVID. So we changed all the hospital. First, we started working to doctors of medical staff like pneumologists, rheumatologists, radiologists. But after a week that we were really exhausted, it was really a chaos because we have patients everywhere, like in emergency service in the fourth floor, third floor, second floor, and we were trying to organize. I think that the big problem was that we have no organization, and we tried to talk with our boss many times, like we need to plan, we need to work only in what part of the hospital, because we have to change a lot the clothes, and we're going out and up and down, and the patients are really, really sick. Sometimes you have to run, and the nurses don't find you, and it was really, really a chaos. So I think that the next step that it was start working 12 hours from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And sometimes you were on call at night. And the next day you were for free at home. Of course, at home because we were in absolutely, I don't know the word in English, but we were at home for everything. And at that time that we started working we started working 12 hours, and then we divide that we were working like only one part of the hospital. Then we started working better. The COVID means to me a really different situation, that I stopped working what I used to do, that I had to work not only with the medical doctors, but also with surgeons, with traumatologists. All the doctors were working except of ophthalmologists and gynecological doctors, and we have to work together to make a team, try to manage some situations that we're not used to do it. And it was really, really amazing. It was really sweet. It was really funny sometimes. Like, we were working on this, we have to work on this, and we have to be safe, and we have to be okay until the end of the pandemic situation. So the worst weeks, I think it was at the end of March, and yeah, in April until then, we have a lot of patients, and we start going down. And after that, people start working what they were going to do every day. And I think I was for 1 month, well, yeah, for 1 month watching only COVID. And that not only uh, for a different situation, but for me the most difficult thing was that I'm used to work with I used when I was younger. I used to work with very ill people in the emergency service with the cows. I'm used to do that, but the problem is that you're not used to work with a completely medical thing that you don't know, with virus that you can get ill also. So you're afraid of being ill. You're afraid for your partners, and you're afraid for your family. I couldn't visit my parents, and my mom was like, "I want to take of care of you. I want to cook for you. How are you? Are you sleeping? Are you eating?" And that kind of stuff. I was really, really worried to get sick, not for me, but to get sick my family. And finally, everything was really fine. I think the patients were going down, and people used to think about the COVID situation, but for me, it was also a big stuff the after COVID that we call, because I used to work in the consultation, and I used to visit for 100 patients per week. So I had to call all of them just to say how are them, to check the analysis, the test, the treatment, the receipts, everything. So I was at home from Monday to Wednesday, calling a lot of patients. I think that I talked with 100 patients, so crazy. And nowadays, I'm busy normally only with mask and alcohol all the time. And the patients that they are not coming because they're afraid to come to the hospital. I try to call them. And nowadays the situation is like strange calm. That we are living in the hospital, and hoping that everything is going to be like this, but we're not quite sure about that. And that's the situation. The first days I was really, really sad, that I was feeling like I didn't study medicine to do that. Why I have to be here? I'm not good for that. And after 2, 3, 4 days that I understand the situation, it was like, okay, that's it. That's what I have to do. And the most important thing is just to try to organize the hospital. And people also, my patients were really, really, really nice when I called them, like, Paula, I'm fine. I know you're working a lot. I know that the situation is crazy. So don't worry, we can have an appointment after the summer. So it was really, really nice. And they were really worried about me, like, are you okay? Your family is okay? So that was really sweet also, and so nice. So that's my little experience. I hope you're enjoying and have a good weekend. Okay.
Great. A great message from Dr. Paula. I would like to continue. Sarfaraz, next question I would like to ask you. As a pharmacist, let's talk a little bit about the pattern that you have seen across Zanzibar and also across Tanzania. You must have some figures. In 3 months, how have you gone from the number which you told, 500 cases, to absolutely corona free? And as you said that on 8th of June, he has declared, President John has declared this. So can you walk us through the entire, your experience, or maybe there are a few cases which you would like to discuss with us? Like yesterday evening when we were on the call, you were talking about the amusing experience which you guys had with the experiment that you did. So please also, can you enlighten us with that one?
It might be a nostalgic, event to tell you, but
Yeah,
still,
yeah, yeah.
I will tell you. President John McFoley, he obtained several, non-human samples. He included a papaya, a goat, and he also assigned them like human names and ages,
Hmm.
And samples from papaya, goat were tested positive. And at that time, he became furious. I mean, how come? How come a watermelon, papaya, and a goat can become positive?
Hmm.
And from that time, he said that President McFoley said that what we say, in fact, the people are getting COVID-19 positive by testing this method. I cannot believe this. Something is fishy. At that time only, he said that something is fishy is going on about the kids and tests. I don't know what's happening, and he already fired the pathology department head, and he told them to to bring and assort some other new kids, and they also did the same thing. But after a few days only, on 8th June, he
Hmm.
declared corona free. So I mean, I would say that despite the lack of scientific evidence, the
Hmm.
Tanzania is like people are the immunity level of the Tanzanians are I will say amazing, because the
Great.
diets are they basically depends on the meats, and they are very close to the nature.
Hmm.
As far as Zanzibar is concerned, there is no industry set up here. The pollution level is
Hmm.
zero, I can say. There is no
Hmm.
industries, and they rely on much on protein products, like even also seafood. So
Hmm.
the doctors are also telling that the protein is a very good to combat and fight with the COVID-19, which is
Hmm.
present in the meat. I would like to draw your attention here on one thing as far as India, because India is my country. I'm very much worried about my country. What I see a pattern in India is when a patient goes to a hospital, uh, they were asking them bring the certificate of that you are corona negative. So a patient who is suffering from past illness, they're having maybe a lot of patients are suffering like diabetes or maybe heart attack, cardiovascular diseases, even kidney diseases, kidney
Hmm.
failure cases I have seen, that they were asking them to bring the COVID negative certificate, then only we will take you. So how human is this? I mean, I don't have words to express this. The doctors, they's having their duties. Whenever a patient is coming, okay, it might be positive, not it might not be a positive. You can wear your proper kits. You can take your all precaution. You can start treating them. Meanwhile, you can take the swab of the patient and you can do the further tests, isn't it? The patients
True.
are losing their life. I would say. I would say the patients are losing life not because of COVID
Hmm.
only, but
Hmm.
because of the previous illness.
Hmm.
Before, in the month of May, I think, yeah,
Hmm.
we had a meeting in our hospital along with all physicians and doctors.
Hmm.
What they said, even the guideline from the government, they said that why we are focusing on COVID-19.
Hmm.
Can you tell me something that you have, some concrete solution and treat COVID-19?
Hmm.
And like, no, we don't have anything.
Hmm.
So why you are much focused on COVID-19? Just focus the patient on the previous illness, past illness.
Hmm.
Treat them properly along with them. give the normal medicines what we're giving to the COVID patient. Trust me, once we started doing this, we started saving life of the patients.
True.
So what I'm trying to say here is,
Hmm.
because of the past illness, patients are dying more, not only because of COVID.
Hmm. True.
As far as I experience in the hospital, and
Hmm.
also uh, the COVID-19 patient, I would say it is attacking a more a aged person, not also you can say middle-aged person, but uh, a young person like me and like 18 to 30 or 35 is quite easy to fight back, but we never say anything. But what we've experienced, we are telling. We don't have any concrete thing to say about COVID, as the whole
True.
world is going mad about this virus.
Hmm.
We don't have anything. We cannot say that no, this is concrete. Sometimes WHO gives another guideline, another day it comes another guidelines. Somewhere they were telling that we have a lot of theories, peddled stories, like even the temperature exceeds more than 50, the virus died, and a lot of bullshits are going on. But it's nothing like that, they all are fake stories. Because if such thing happens, then what about Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Middle East? They're the most humid country, and the temperature is very high, But still, they were getting a lot of cases. But the fatality rate of Middle East also is very less. But as far as concerned about when I see the cases of US, there are more than 1 lakh cases. 1 lakh people died. Sorry,
Yeah.
but I have a doubt that in recent protests, I have seen lakhs of peoples in the midst of this COVID. Don't they have fear to lose their life? Is it really? Is it really the COVID is? I mean to say, a very lethal, a very dangerous. I mean, don't we give a very hype to this COVID? Why the whole world is shut down? You know how the world hampers now? Everyone is struggling. The whole economy has been down. So the main concern is we can start the world, but uh, by certain, making some regulations and by following physical distancing and proper sanitization, by educating people how we can fight back. But I would never suggest, because I had experience here, that a complete lockdown is never a good idea. But yeah, as madam said, there is also a mindset of people and the country, the population also depend. So it's very difficult to control. But here also
True.
we have in Tanzania like 56 million approximately people are there. So yeah,
Yeah.
that much only I would say.
Okay. Amaya, I would like to get back to you about in the middle of the lockdown, how was the work pattern for you right now? So you're working as an architect, and what was the effect of the lockdown on the profession and the business of the company that you're working in? And now that yesterday when we spoke on the call, you were at work. So have you resumed work from the premises itself, or are you working from home? Or when did you guys live the lockdown in Vancouver? Can you just take us through that little journey?
Yeah, for sure. So the province of BC started a plan of phases, and March we started phase 1, which was essential travel only, physical distancing, business closures to help stop the spread of the COVID, and just the essential business were open. And because in architecture we can work remotely, thankfully, there was a work from home plan. And as we entered phase 2, we could, it's still essential travel only, physical distancing, and some business restarted opening. And for instance, restaurants were closed, but they were allowed to do takeouts. And as architects, we are not an essential service, but we could
True.
go to the office, and every business that had to start with a plan. So in my office, just 10% of the people are allowed to go to work at the office. and there's plenty of space. It's even more than the 2 meters or 3 meters apart. And there's sanitizing stations. You have to enter the building from one side, then exit from the other side. There's one direction circulation only, and so there's a plan that all the businesses have to implement. So in that case, I think every business has followed what the government has said, and it's been it feels very safe. And for instance, public transit on phase 1 was free, but there was just some seats. Yeah, I know, it was amazing, but some seats were but you could not use all the seating areas on the bus. There was a tape on some seats that you cannot sit here and you can sit here. And it's the same with my company. The common areas, conference rooms, it says where you can sit or what you can use. So yeah, I think everything feels very safe, and you feel you know what you're doing, because also in BC we have a doctor that her name is Bonnie Henry, and she's become like this idol of the country, basically, because she would do a 2-hour daily conference, and she's super clear on her directions. She explained it really well, and people understand what needs to be done, and they follow it. So I think it's been very clear how to proceed with that, and we are entering phase 3 now, which is really good, and we can start small, safe travel within the province, and schools were open. So I think it's been it's been very clear how to proceed and how to act and how to understand what's happening with the situation.
Yes, I think that is very fortunate.
It is, yeah.
Clarity is, I think clarity is a pretty big luxury at this point of time. Krupa, next question I'm going to be pointing at you. But before I ask the question to Krupa, I would like to give you a gist of what she does and what a data scientist is. So data is simple information which we are using through our internet. If you're opening a Google page, it generates a certain amount of information which helps the page to pop up on our screen, which is called the movement of data. So, and believe it or not, this data is being traced by hundreds of thousands of people all over the world, and they are picking up on this data and they're analyzing it for possible patterns, for escalations or glitches or thresholds of difficulties, by which one is able to predict an certain approximate occurrence, in this case of the pandemic, approximate occurrence of the future of what 2020 or 21 is going to be like. So with this kind of vivid explanation, I want to ask the question. So eventually I want to ask about the prediction of the pandemic, but I want you to take us through it. Just walk us through it, from the first hits to up till now. What is the projection, and what are people talking about it? If you're following some senior or you have your own research about it, please talk to us about it.
So firstly, all of us know that the world is being driven by data, and any step that any of the governments or countries are taking is based on the data. You look at the historical patterns, not only in your country, but you look at the projections, we talk about the curve, flattening of curve, and how the rate of increase of this pandemic has been in different countries. So this all boils down with the data that we have, right? So we've had, Italy, where it just went high, and now it, reached its peak and it's coming down, right? So at least when this whole coronavirus thing started, at least in the US, when we had like around I think in the end of March or something, that's when it was like decided that we want to go to a complete lockdown. But yes, when we say about lockdown, it's that the essential services were open, the grocery stores were open, but yes, the malls and all were all closed. So at that time, when you see the graph, it's just started going up exponentially, right? And then it came to a point where total lockdown was there, like we're not allowed to go to office. The organizations, they came up together with plans saying that people will be working from home. And as like Amaya said that yes, a 10% of the staff, that is very very important to be there in office, like the essential staff, they had to be there. So it all started that way. And when we talk about data science, data modeling, we take into account like historical data, because you need certain data to train your model. So what does training mean? It takes into account different features, data in time series. So like we took data from like February, March, April, and so on. And with the features like the population that is there in the country, how many people are at a higher risk. Like as Sarfaraz said, that people in the higher age groups are at a risk because of the pre-existing conditions that is there. So here we're talking about predictive modeling. So what is predictive modeling? With the data, with the historical data that you have, you kind of predict with the given number of features what is going to happen in the future. Like I just said some time back, if you go to the Worldometer's website and look at the projections tab and see, I was just looking at California of USA, it shows that around October things would settle down. Now that really doesn't mean that, okay, it's going to be October and I can do whatever I want. It's with the current scenario, it shows October. Few months back, it was showing September. That means that each and every day, these factors change. Now, when we talk about predictive modeling, it's like every domain has their own modeling. So, being a security analytics data scientist, we talk about malwares, the patterns of cybercrime. Now, when it comes to this corona virus situation, that's something to do with the model for epidemiology, where you're looking at the health information, taking into account the theoretical number of patients, the number of cases for this particular disease that are going to increase over a period of time in a closed population. You look at the number of susceptible people, the number of people infected, and the number of people recovered, and the social distancing, the social contact, number of people who are allowed to meet each other every day. These factors take into condition. Now, let me ask you a question here. If I say that US, for example, has 20,000 cases reported yesterday, I don't know what to say. Like, should I be shocked? Yes, we do not want a single case. But here is what, if I give you extra information, like in the past month, we had numbers in around 30,000 or something. And then if you hear 20,000, it would be something good to know, right? But what if I told you, like, till date, there have never been 30,000 cases? That is alarming, right? The historical trend, the curve is still going up. Now, if I told you that previously there used to be around 10,000 cases, it went up to 20,000, it came down to 5,000, and it is 30,000. That gives me an idea that, okay, here's a second wave starting soon, right? So it's like, these models, the data itself can give an estimation of predicting till when, what time, what year this model would be there. The data can also give information or kind of predict the medical facilities that would be required. Okay, with this population that we have and the current rate of increase of the virus, we will need n number of ventilators, n number of beds, and you need to practice social distancing. With the modeling that we do, it's also possible. Say if I'm saying that it's around late March that the lockdown was enforced, I can also kind of say that if the lockdown was started in February, it would not have been the case that was right now. So these factors are
True.
so important, and the data can tell you so much and predict so much. And it's very important that the government and all these organizations that are there to communicate this to people. You cannot just say that the coronavirus cases are increasing. Show them in dashboards, show them the curve, that here we are still going up exponentially. The curve is not coming down. And if the curve has started flattening, that really doesn't mean you've been given the freedom to do anything. You follow guidelines, and we all have to come together. Not only the essential workers, like we respect them and I salute them for what work that they are doing, but we also
Absolutely.
need to
True.
follow the social distancing guidelines or whatever is being told, because it is for our own good. So I think that data is playing a really very important role in driving all these decisions. And not only this, like the genome sequences of coronavirus cases are being shared like publicly online on say Kaggle website, where it's the world's largest data science community. Not only that, it's like people are being given data, patient data, to analyze and forecast that with this data, what else can you predict? The X-ray details of the coronavirus patients, this data is being shared, openly with all the
Oh.
data scientists. Like, what can you predict? Or here is like the SARS disease that was there, or the swine flu, the disease that was there. This is the data. Can you correlate that data and give us a conclusion that okay, we need to go in this direction, like this and this is same for these virus sequences, and hence we can conclude this. So I think this is very important, and the data is definitely driving all the decisions.
Yes, but we want to know your verdict, and we want to know what is the. So we want to know some projection from you. Is it
um,
possible?
Well, I am not in this particular field to give any right answer, but based on the
Okay.
projections that has been shown by Worldometer's website, it shows that with the current scenario, at least for the case of US, it may take around, September and October with the current scenario. Like I said, different features, different parameters do contribute to this, and it may get done even more earlier if we are strict enough and you're following the social distancing, just like Sarfaraz mentioned, like in Tanzania, like people were following very strictly. If you're strict enough, if you're following everything, we can, get over this even more early. But as of now, it does show for the US at least around October.
Okay. Well, we don't know for the entire world when it is going to be, but
Right.
great, Krupa. That is, I think that's an amazing thing that you have shared with us. Sarfraz, so we are, guys, we are actually taking questions now, live questions. So if anybody has a question, you can please ask in our comment section, and we will try to answer it. But before we get any of those questions, I have a question for Sarfraz. Uh, there were some doctors, actually we had done a webinar. Actually, I had moderated the webinar, and they were talking about medicines that they were giving during the time of Ebola. Even because even Ebola was a virus, and so they were trying different kind of medications on different patients, and some were medicines which were given for Ebola, which is remdesivir, that was working for a few patients. So, what was the situation then? And also the question that, Ebola kind of never surpassed the African subcontinent, if I remember very well. But COVID is now like all across the world. So, can we talk a little bit about that? Your mic is muted. Sarfaraz, your mic is muted. Yeah.
Just a second.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This is good. Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Okay. The Ebola treatment. Hello.
Yeah. Absolutely. Please go on.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, the Ebola virus, it was very deadly, and the symptoms were like, as much of same you can say. And at that time also the blood pressure was going high. Then the reduced vomiting, even diarrhea, and all were having musculoskeletal pain.
Hmm.
And what we say about the uh, diagnosis factors, signs and symptoms, it was same, like, but it was very deadly because they were having a very high fever,
Hmm.
you know. But as for the you are telling the community spread to the whole world, it could not let that. And I would say at that time they come up with some vaccines. And the structure of the Ebola, as we see in COVID-19, is not so difficult. And it's the shape and size was like, okay, we can make a vaccine and we can fix it. So we did that at that time. The medical scientists but as far as
Sarfraz, yeah. Sarfraz, I think you're not audible anymore. I think that there is a technical issue there. Yeah, I think that he's off. Okay, so as soon as he comes back, I think we will start the conversation again with him. But Krupa, let's talk about a certain let's talk about cybersecurity during the pandemic. Can we talk a little bit about that, because that is your major field?
Yes. So,
Yeah.
like cybersecurity, the threat scenarios are constantly changing and keeping on becoming super advanced and targeting people of all different kinds. And given this particular pandemic situation, I mean, the hackers, people have wrong mind to get, a lot of other wrong things done. It's continuously increasing. Now, when we talk about cybersecurity, why do we need to be alert? Because these kind of emails and text messages that you get, like congratulations, you've got this reward, and click on this to provide more information, share your personal details so that we can share with you the reward. And I think these kind of emails are continuously increasing. It's targeting the elderly people because unfortunately they do not have much knowledge about that. So
Hmm.
these kind of things are increasing, and all of us need to be aware about that. Another thing that is continuously increasing is the ransomware scenario. So hackers are trying to hack into and compromise systems of medical centers, where it's very important that this data is there, like patient database is there, and who is
Hmm.
there, how many people are
Hmm.
there. Like, people know the importance of this data, so hackers are targeting these systems. They're hacking
Hmm.
it and then asking for ransom money, like give us like $10,000, and then only we will kind of bring it back to normal. So these cases are continuously increasing. Not only this, given that everyone is kind of working from home and is online through their laptops, mobiles, iPads, the malicious domains is increasing, and like people are clicking on things, and there is some virus or something, other malwares that are being downloaded and kind of compromising systems again in this case, and taking control of the laptop and doing all sorts of wrong things. So the cybersecurity scenario is something that's again very important. And with the data, again, we need to identify, like, I work in this field where with the data that I have, I can find out which is something normal and which is abnormal. So I think it's very much important for all of us to be aware
Hmm.
of this scenario and be
Hmm.
alert, and not only be alert ourselves, but also
Hmm.
communicate that within our friends, because it's very important. And not only this, like, since I said that the hackers are continuously targeting systems, what you can do to keep these systems safe, you keep your systems up to date, like you have the updates, you have the patching
Hmm.
done, and the
Hmm.
virus whatever and all this there, it needs to be
Hmm.
protected.
Hmm.
And what you can do is, like, keep your passwords really complicated, because if it is has these QWERTY or 1 2 3 4 5 6, the chance or probability that it will
Hmm.
be compromised is like super. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's very important that we be alert on these scenarios.
Great, absolutely. I think it's a very, very valid point, and I don't think that we have covered anything like this about cybersecurity during this time, because I think everybody's vision is currently on the medical field and the pharmaceutical field, and we really should be worried about the data that we have, not only as personal as individuals, but also as institutions and also as a country, which is also very, very possible, and it's very vulnerable for sure. I know that.
Right.
So
And I said, like,
yeah,
the data that is
yeah.
very important, even for modeling purposes, the data is supposed to be clean. Why it is
Hmm.
supposed to be clean? Because all the predictions that I'm making, it's on the
Hmm.
accuracy of the data. Say, for
True.
example, I have a data that says that actually should be that an 80-year-old
Hmm.
person contacted the virus and like kind of died. But what if the system recorded that an 8-year-old person did that? I mean,
Wow.
contacted the
True.
virus. So all these predictions or
It's
anything is going to change,
yeah.
right? And
True.
even if the data reporting that is done by countries, that should be correct. Because if
Hmm.
I have 10,000 cases and if I'm just reporting 5,000 cases, I can
Hmm.
predict that for you, but that would be baseless because of
Hmm.
that's not the situation. So the data
True.
accuracy also matters.
Absolutely. That is correct. That is very, very true. Sarfraz, you're back in. Can you hear us?
Yeah, actually, I don't know what happened. Suddenly disconnected.
Okay. You were saying about the Ebola.
You had Ebola. Actually, the drug used at that time, I think maybe remdesivir. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, I can remember that remdesivir drug. That is an antiviral drug
Hmm.
which was used to treat Ebola. There were also reported deaths by using remdesivir at that time. Even
Hmm.
now, also people were tried to use antiviral drugs in the case of COVID-19, like leponavir and ritonavir, along with macrolides like azithromycin. But
Hmm.
while using these drugs, the physician and the doctors, what they noted is uh, there was a certain acute interval in cardiac, like
Hmm.
we can say arrhythmias. There was a pattern of heart which starts fibrilling, like we call it arrhythmias in medical terminology. So that is also a disadvantage of using this drug. So as of now, we don't have anything. So and the doctors are keep on trying. And now I also heard that some of using betamethasone, that is steroid, which could be given in asthmatic patients and also for allergic treatment.
Hmm.
So yeah, so there is nothing exact drug we have right now. So in every country, the people are trying. Even I heard that there is a research going on plasma. They were giving
Hmm.
the patient who has recovered from
True.
COVID-19. They were donating their plasma. You know, yeah. So that is a good thing because we have antibody in our body, that is IgG. It's called IgG, immunoglobulin.
Hmm.
So it is responsible to it is present in the blood, and it fights bacterial and viral infection.
Hmm.
So there are reports that who is recovering from COVID-19.
Hmm.
So the immune system will be very good, and their antibody are really a combat to fight with the
Hmm.
COVID-19. So people are also donating there. But in India,
Their plasma.
people
Yeah.
are donating, yeah, the plasma. They're donating plasma, and it is helping a lot. But recently, I heard that people are, they're keeping themselves back. They're not donating plasma. I don't know why,
Hmm.
because a lot of misconceptions are going in the mind.
Hmm.
And yeah, one more thing I want to tell you, Krupa, that in uh, in Tanzania, whenever a COVID patient came, they did
Hmm.
not charge. It's totally free, whether it be any nationality. People came here and they found positive. They took the sample, they're showing the symptoms, and they did totally free. They did not charge anything. But as far as in our India concerned, the government are doing the test, but in the private
Hmm.
hospital they are charging a lot. But means what are you charging for? For giving a bed? Do you have any medicines to treat coronavirus till now? No. So what are you charging? You're giving
Hmm.
some medicines and keeping some machine.
Hmm.
So what are you charging a lot money in lakhs? People are had
True.
fear to join to go government hospitals because of the sanitary
Hmm.
problem. I have witnessed so many cases. I even spoke to the people experienced the
Hmm.
hospital treatment,
Hmm.
and it's like I cannot express in the words, and I don't feel right to express also. But I would
Yeah.
like to draw your attention towards the medical field in the privatization manner. What they are charging too much money. I mean, for what you're charging? Isn't the government should put some regulations on them?
Hmm. Yes, that is
And I
very,
would
very true.
also uh,
Yeah.
I would also give one suggestion to the physicians of doctors of the India that please treat the patient and focus on the previous illness. Definitely, you can save more lives.
Wow. I think that is
Yeah.
something very, very seriously to be heard, and that I think that's very, very well said, Sarfraz. Thank you so much for that. And
Yes,
people
ma'am.
really need to listen to
Thanks
this
a lot.
line because, yeah, as you said in the beginning, that they are just just treating the coronavirus and not maybe not paying attention to the previous comorbidities. So,
Definitely.
yeah, okay. Okay, I would like to ask Amaya, would you like to add something over here? We were talking about global warming scenario in COVID-19. Do you want to talk something about that? Your mic is muted.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, no, that a brief reflection that we've seen, or something, a side effect of COVID. It's been how an amazing offset that has been for climate change, and I guess many countries have experienced like how nature has been taking over, and that's been quite amazing. And moving forward, I guess we need to see which methodologies would limit climate change. It can be very complex, and it's unclear how to minimize carbon emissions while maintaining a full economic stability. But we've seen that all the measures that have been put in place for COVID and how this has been tackled globally, and that's something that we need to start thinking of climate change, because it's like an invisible enemy. And yeah, think about a possible outcome where economic solutions also include the carbon neutral society. And as an architect, we have a major role on that, right?
True.
Yeah,
absolutely, we do.
Yeah. And obviously we always think of humans and nature, and I think we need to start thinking of us as part of nature, and start, like, all these global policies have been taking place, and that's something that a lesson that we could learn from COVID is how to tackle that globally, and also in climate change. So it's not only like, oh, how cute it is to see dolphins in Barcelona, which it's impressive, but also like, let's start thinking about policies and how to address that, right?
Yeah, and how to keep the dolphins in Barcelona a longer time than
just for
having
this.
than just for this pandemic.
And it's complex, but
yeah, for sure. But I think if the right minds can come together, they're going to stay in Barcelona for a long time.
Right.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. I would like to take a question. Either if you can answer that. The question is, what can be done to make people understand the gravity of the situation? The situation is that people are not taking the pandemic seriously, which is really annoying. What do you think can be done to make the people understand the gravity of the situation? Sarfaraz, would you like to take this one? Sarfaraz, can you hear me? Well, will either of you would like to take this question? Amaya, would you like to answer on this?
Yeah, I think what we were saying previously about having information and also understanding what's happening, right? Because we were like, oh wow, this virus that it's happening in China, oh, it's coming here, and suddenly it's in all the world. And I think it's important, A, information, and B, understanding that we're in a globalization, which has lots of positive things, but also one of the bad things is that we are less contained. So we need to understand that we are, and I know it sounds very flower power, but we are one now. We are one with nature.
We are one as a complete community of the human race.
Right.
I think that's what you mean.
Yeah. Thanks for putting it into the right words.
Yeah.
So understanding that what happens to the neighbor affects all of us, and getting clear information, that's quite crucial.
Yes, as I already said, that clear information is it's a big thing right now, which many people are unable to access, and those who are not able to access is the reason because people are unable to give a clear information at any point of time. I think,
and I think I would
Krupa.
want to add something to these lines, like I previously mentioned, like you need to convey the data properly in an efficient manner. You need to tell the story through the data, like data storytelling is the key factor here. Like as Amaya mentioned, like we all know that it started in one part of the world and then it was spreading, and then how can I be serious? It's like, show the data to people. Like, I mean, I'm monitoring the India situation through COVID-19 India.org, where they kind of
Yeah.
explain through heat maps that these are the hot spots, like these are the states where the coronavirus cases are continuously increasing. So I think with these graphs or something, that okay, these were the cases that we had like last month and now it's increasing. Like, again, show them with projections that okay, if you do not follow this, it is going to continue until the end of the year. If you don't follow this, you will not be able to live a normal life that we had like way back, like three
True.
or 4 months back. So I think telling these kind of stories rather than just creating this hype that okay, the cases are increasing, that's not how people should be conveying. I know, being in California, I mean in San Francisco, there is county wise Power BI dashboards that are there, that are continuously
Wow.
showing the graph that is there, that just by visually looking at the graph I can say that okay, we are exponentially increasing now. Okay, now it's the time to flatten the curve, we are at that stage. So I think data storytelling becomes a really important factor.
Great. Yeah. Sarfaraz, can you hear us? And your mic is muted. If you unmute, I'll be able to hear you. Yeah. Can you hear us?
Yeah, but the voice is breaking. Okay, but
Okay.
still I can manage. Yeah, tell me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll talk a little bit slowly so that you can get the question. That what can be done to make people understand the gravity of the situation, because people are just not understanding and it is annoying.
Uh, as of now, people are very much aware of this COVID,
Mm,
but there is a a mindset and psychologically effect that you put the people in complete lockdown more than 2 3 months, and they are like people are getting furious by keeping continuous staying in the home. They are not habitual to all these things, but still the government should have taken the steps very patiently,
mm,
uh, by by giving some precautions. By you can say on the weekly basis they can show the figure of how much people are getting contaminated, the people are losing their lives, and the precautionary measures what they have to take. If they will not take, the situation
mm,
will become grave. We are already in the doom situation. The economy is getting doomed. Everything is, people are losing their life, people are losing their jobs. uh, Even if you're not able to run your house, if you cannot come up with this pandemic. So
mm,
I think people, you cannot make understand people because they know very much well what about COVID is now. They do understand the gravity of the situation, but they have also a lot of problems related to the economical problem. You can say the people are really, I'm telling that they understand really very well. They also
mm,
followed the rules and regulation of the government. But
mm,
there are people, if they did not earn,
mm,
it would be a very grave situation for them. So people like them are, they are trying something to do and they're going out. So I
true.
would say that there should be, some package, relief packages from the governments to help such poor and marginalized people. Then definitely, if you can make situation normal. But as of such, you cannot give any instructions that people will understand your talks. You will say no, this and this would happen. No, they have a
Mm,
lot of problems. For them, this is
mm.
not a big problem. For them, their food shelter, there is a big life. What I
Yes,
mean to try to say.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Great.
there should be some relief packages.
Mm,
Then definitely they will listen you.
mm.
Try and test it with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the pattern of Canada. You can see the New Zealand. You can see
Mm,
the America. How
mm,
they are paying.
mm,
They're getting salaries by they're doing work from home. If they're they're not working, they're also getting some compensation of
incentives.
money in the
Yeah,
form of money. Yeah, they're
yeah,
getting.
yeah,
But as
yeah,
of India, we are not getting anything.
yeah.
Give
Unfortunately, I'm
them.
going to be a little. I'm going to be a little blunt, and I'm going to say, India. In India, we are getting pay cuts. That is what we are getting.
We're getting pay cuts.
Pay cuts. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I was not. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Is it sufficient for the to run a family, that pay cut? I would ask one
Uh,
question.
no, no, absolutely. That is not a question to be even asked. Not on the webinar, or not even off record. Okay, I would like to prompt the last. I think I would like to take one last question. I think Krupa can answer this much better than anyone else. There, how much these apps, like the one here in India, which is Arogya Setu, is helping in fighting COVID-19, and how do these apps work?
That's a really good question because people want to know more about these apps and
Yeah.
the accuracy of these apps, right? To be
Hmm.
honest, I am not 100% sure about the Arogya Setu app because I think it's totally based off India numbers and facts and
Hmm.
figures. But
Hmm.
from what little knowledge that I have, and I just looked it upon, it
Hmm.
does kind of give those important information, these numbers again. And I believe someone had shared with me that it does show the graphs in there that, okay, now we are going up. It helps to compare with the graphs of, say US, India, and Italy. Okay, now it's going up, now it's going down. Another good feature that I came to know is like with the patient database that they have, they kind of show like, okay, within 1 kilometer of a radius, these many cases are there. So I think that gives a very much good idea and makes you alert that, okay, I need to take you be extra cautious and like take good steps. Like I know previously, at least, family back in India, when they had their first case in their own society, the whole society was sealed. So I think
Hmm.
these measures come in only when this data is there. And I think these apps can be handy because if and when I don't know if it has information about the hospital bed availability or ventilators availability, or like, because I know I keep reading on stories or in news where people were complaining that in Delhi, I went to one hospital and then find out that there is no sufficient place to take any more patients, and I was redirected to the other hospital, and so on and so forth. So if that feature is there, that is very useful. And if it's not there, you can just take my words and try to have that feature in done. You can request it because that becomes a very, very important information from a patient point of view. So, and again, it is very important to stress on the point that these apps or any projections that are coming in is based on the accuracy of the data. The government and all the organizations supporting these apps are trying their best to convey the data in a proper format to the users, in just giving it at their home. They don't need to turn on any news channels or something, but it's coming to your home in the form of the apps. So it's based on this information that is being shared by the government that these apps are being made.
Okay, great. So I would like to conclude the webinar here. Thank you, Amaya. Thank you, Krupa. Thank you, Sarfaraz, for joining us from Tanzania, from Canada, and from the US. I think it's been a pretty big toll on you, because of the time difference. But still, you guys were here, and you were very, 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 very helpful in this webinar. So thank you once again for the webinar. And I would like to tell the viewers that please stick around for the next 2 minutes. We are going to be rolling a video about Empower People and the work that we're doing. Thank you so much and have a good evening, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Almost all of us want to do something for the larger society and try to give back to our people. But we all have limitations. We see and feel for people in difficult circumstances, and we also know that the lives of people living in extreme poverty and in difficult conditions are inevitably bound with our own lives and identities. Let's come together, speak your mind, share your ideas, and together we can work to improve the lives of people in need. Join us for online meetings. Let's discuss and plan the way forward. As shall you use your expertise, so shall others, and together we can truly make a difference. Our target is to rescue women in slavery, women who are bought and sold like products in the market for the purpose of marriage. Women who are then mistreated and abandoned to their own devices due to lack of support from the family, the community, and society at large. They constitute a new generation of the oppressed. A denial of their basic human rights is the biggest threat to our development and sustainability as a species. As a first step, simply come and register at our website www.empowerpeople.in. Our team will get in touch with you. We look forward to seeing you join hands, hearts and minds with us. Add in your bid to keep the flame of compassion, service and humanity alive.